Hi, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Sylvia, and I'm here tonight with Kirsten Ivatts. Hello, Kirsten.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
I am very well, thank you. Very well
Yeah,
indeed.
I'm happy and looking forward to our chat because we're going to
Yeah,
talk about some things that are very close to our own hearts.
yeah, very
The other
much.
day, I recorded a video about shifting, which is the
Mm,
latest trend on TikTok here in
yes.
October 2020, and that is the teenagers in isolation going into their bedrooms and then entering an altered state in order to have
Mm,
adventures in a world where they're going to have fun. And I came across a video by somebody who was just so upset about it and worried and thought it was a terrible thing and so dangerous and bad and what have you. So I felt moved because I've been doing this since I was a child.
mm,
And you have too, haven't you?
yes, yeah. Very, just as a natural thing, very
Of
much.
course. I think it
Yeah,
is very natural for children to do
yeah,
that. And the thing
definitely.
is, in my world, the ability to do that, to be either here or there,
Mm,
and to choose where you want to be,
yeah.
it's a human superpower, a star power.
Oh, I agree completely. And I think what um what occurred to me through because I don't know if you remember, but I studied Druidry for quite a while, and I got quite into all the Celtic mythology um, and a bit into shamanism and things like that. And this phrase kept coming up about having a foot in both worlds. And I thought, when I came across that phrase, I thought that is exactly what I do. I've got
Mm,
a foot in this reality, but always running alongside, I've got a foot in this other reality that, and I can cross between or even be doing both at the same time,
yeah.
and that's just how I live.
Well, in 2016, I think it was, my original project Sanctuary, which is
Mm,
exploring their worlds,
yes,
was changed to SuperMind. And
yes,
the
yeah.
reason the name for that was changed to SuperMind was that the human mind is really designed to think together.
Mm, I
We're
agree.
not
Yeah.
supposed to be thinking in one way here all
Mm,
the time, and then go into deep meditations
yes, yeah.
and then spend time in that other world and never the twain shall meet.
No,
That's
no.
not the idea. The human mind is supposed to be working together.
Mm,
And
yeah,
that's this double, this, and then the super mind emerges when the conscious
yeah,
mind and the energy mind, which is our word for the unconscious or subconscious mind, it's neither, when they
no.
come together on the same page. And that is so what you're describing there, having access to both worlds at the same time. So you're
Mm,
not just seeing like a person that looks really beautiful with a lot of makeup on them, but you're actually seeing also what's behind the mask
yes, yeah, that's
at the
right.
same time is
Yeah,
really the purpose of this.
yeah,
It's not
yeah.
just escaping.
Oh
Um,
no, no.
but
That's so,
this other thing, they're calling it reality. It's not reality.
no.
It's a made up thing of people, with the
Oh,
houses,
yeah.
taxes, and the politicians. This is not real reality. Real reality is more than that. And yeah,
It's so much better.
it
Real
is.
reality is so much better. People are living in this, what I look at as a dead world.
Yeah.
Where's the magic? And
It's been
where's the
edited out.
sparkle?
It
Yeah, it
has
has.
it's been edited out. Everywhere
Yeah,
you go, the magic's been edited out. It's even been
definitely.
edited out of the old established religions,
Yes,
where
yeah,
all the magic's been scrubbed out and
yeah.
replaced by I don't know what that is. Nothing.
It's
Nothingness. It's really
it's
sad.
boredom, yeah, and it goes through everything. It pervades everything, and that's talking about the fact that we homeschool. You homeschooled and I homeschool. One of the big things for me after having three children in school And then with my fourth, who really didn't fit into the system anymore and suffered with anxiety, the thing that was really missing was any sort of magic, any sort of imagination being able to be used. And children use their imagination. We know that. They use it so naturally. And that's the magic of children. And watching them do it.
It's the magic of human beings.
Yes, well, that's it. But you know,
I mean,
for schools to edit it away.
When they come out of school and go to university, the last remaining bits of magic are being hacked out of them, isn't it? It's it's a nightmare. And then it goes on from there. But it's not just children. That's where I find is a big misconception. Not just children and teenagers, and you grow out of it. No, we are all children the day we die in this living universe. And so one of the things that I wanted to address, and it's very interesting because I also homeschooled, but for exactly the opposite reason, because my son was supposed to be autistic.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so you've got the very high, very sensitive.
Well, I think Francesca's just on the scale. I think she's just on that scale. And I think that's why she suffered with anxiety, because she's just that higher end of being sensitive. Sounds, she couldn't cope with the sound of lots of children around, or, you know, it was just too much.
Well, and also energy awareness, you know, if you have a lot of stressed children around you or stressed people around you, and you are actually energy aware, this is going to stress you much more than it would stress other people. I also had one child in the this established hard school system, and the other one homeschooled. And so, like, most people think in terms of fantasy as escape from real reality, and it's not that. First of all, what they think of as real reality is just a construct thing. You know, there's real reality, the physical reality with stones and rocks, mountains, and our bodies, and, you know, the stars in the sky. There's a real reality. And then there's this whole construct of taxes and philosophies and weirdnesses that I call that the hard. Not because it's hard in any way, like a tabletop, but because
it's hard work.
Because it makes it so hard for a human being to live in it. That's why I call it the hard. And so one of the big objections to the shifting is that people are just escaping the hard. And that is a terrible thing, to be escaping from the hard. It's proof that you are weak and you can't make it in the hard. In the real world, in the hard, there's a big fucking difference between them.
There is, and it's great. I love how you separate that, because, like, I mean, because for me, and from being a child, nature has been so important. I was always an outdoor child. I was experiencing, connecting always with nature and animals, but that stepping into that what you call the hard, which I think is a really good description, I found really difficult. And that is why I started using a sanctuary sort of system from being really young as well, because I didn't want to be in that. I couldn't see, there was no attraction to being in that, but I couldn't grasp why it was even there. It didn't make sense to me in any shape or form, you know.
Well, that's the thing. The hard doesn't have cause and effect as the rest of the universe does. I was saying that on the other stream. You know, in the really real world, if you take a tree and you plant it the right way out with the green stuff on top, and then you put it in a nice place where it gets some sunshine, and you put some water on it, you're doing the right thing, you will get the reward. Eventually, you'll get apples from this tree. But in the hard, they tell you what is right and what is wrong. And you can do all the things they told you are the right things to do, and you still get burned on the stake.
There's still nothing.
rhyme or reason in it. There seems to be no cause and effect. It's all muddled up and disconnected, hugely confusing.
Yeah, yeah,
And to keep your bearings, there's connecting with nature, but also connecting with those other realms,
yes, yeah, yeah,
because there is the cause and effect.
yes. That's it. And you can experience it straight away. It's obvious. It's there. And I think one of my biggest beefs, I suppose, with society now, is the mental health issue, which is so huge. And throughout, and this, they highlight different groups where it's a big thing, but it's not just those different groups. It's everywhere. It's throughout, because people can't escape from that hard. There's nobody there telling them that there is a different way of living. There's no one there explaining that the reason that they are in this state is because they're in this zone, this hard zone, where, like you say, there's no cause and effect. It doesn't make any sense to the human, not just the human mind, but to the whole of being a human. It makes no sense at all.
No, it doesn't.
And they've got it from being a child,
Excuse me. Yes, it's and over time it seems that more and more doorways that would lead out of the heart naturally have been shut off.
Definitely.
Like religion has been disparaged, and the new age has been ridiculed, and fantasy and so on has become, we used to have things like Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And now we have, I don't know, not even the original superheroes.
No.
Mangled versions of something somebody wrote in the 1930s to entertain young children, It's just horrible to watch. It's horrible to watch. It is horrible to watch. But let's go back to, so I would say this: escaping from the hard is not escaping reality.
No,
it's not.
I completely agree. Yeah.
So that's our first thing. And if the hard is particularly shit, I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. How do you keep your mind intact if you stay in that zone, of that hard zone? That's what I don't understand.
No, you don't. This is why people get, look, this is why we've got an absolute flood of Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yeah.
And
all the childhood issues that are all, there's so many childhood issues that people are pinning all these labels on, and they all just come back to a really stressed child that isn't allowed to live in the real world as we're talking about it, and isn't allowed to use their imagination, which is this limitless vehicle, that we've all been given for a really good reason, and they're not allowed to use it. Or they have it.
If they do use it, they're called, crazy or schizophrenic, or and get some more labels on top of that. And the solution to this is to cut off your imagination and make real friends.
Yes. Oh goodness.
Yeah, that's the whole topic of invisible friends, which is also supposed to be a sign of mental illness.
Oh dear.
It's an absolute nightmare. Invisible friends are amazing. Anybody who's ever had one, or two, or three, or four, or five of them, where would we be without them? Jesus.
I'd be stuck. I would.
Okay, so let's. I need to be a little bit topical here, because we did promise talking about homeschooling and using. So now we've established that fantasizing, whatever, I don't call it that. Shifting is actually not a bad word.
Yeah.
Shifting into this other world where you can have fun and adventures, and you can create things. You co-create them with your dear energy mind.
Yeah.
That's what we have it for. Among many other things. How is that hugely beneficial in the context of homeschooling?
Yeah. Okay, well, for us, it's beneficial. But well, I suppose Francesca, my daughter, is lucky in that I think in this way. I've always thought in this way. It's been a natural thing for me from being young. So I set out my approach to homeschooling with her has always been, the first thing is that you don't limit the imagination. There's no limit to what the imagination is allowed to do. That then means that she actually gets, we tend to be child-led in what we do. I don't set lesson plans. We don't learn in the way that she would at school, because she finds that really stressful. So her way of learning is very much, okay, we're gonna for instance, like today, the way that she wanted to learn was to go and play on her game Roblox that she plays on. And that to some people doesn't seem like any sort of way for a child to learn. But when Francesca goes on it, she goes into another world and she talks to her characters, and then she comes out of it with these characters, brings these characters out, and she draws them and she makes them into more than they were on the computer. And then they become part of her reality, and it's
How
really
old is Francesca?
10.
She's 10.
She's 10
Okay.
Yeah. So she started homeschooling at 7. So we've been 3 years now. And I'd say the first year we were really trying to undo a lot of the damage that school had done. So we didn't really get much done. And we were finding our way to
I'd say a lot done if you're getting a person from being terribly stressed to starting to relax a little bit and coming back to life and enjoying getting up in the mornings. I think you can't say we didn't get a lot done. I mean, that's
exactly. Yeah, I meant from a school.
It is the foundation for anything else that you want to build on. That for any learning that should be happening or any kind of development is the foundation that you have a child who isn't terrified of waking up in the mornings. Or going to sleep at night, knowing they're going to wake up in the mornings. I remember this from school. I had phases at school where my young aspect was just in a constant state of terror.
Yeah, I do. I remember that as well. Yeah.
There's no way to learn anything.
No,
and putting a lot of children in the same room who are in terror, all of them, and stress and anxiety, and thinking that that's a great way to socialize children.
No, I know.
It's absolutely ludicrous. It's like taking a whole lot of starving dogs and putting them in a room together and say, now socialize and learn how to behave like a normal dog. It's insanity. It's actually
insanity.
Complete and utter insanity.
Yeah.
So when you say imagination, what you really mean is the energy mind, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. It's the playground. It's the place that it is. It's for me, it has always been where I've gone, but it's also, I always think of it as not just sanctuary, not just a place that you can go and develop things. I also think of it as a vehicle. So for me, it's always been the vehicle that takes me to wherever I want to go, and also the vehicle that brings out that creativity. And really, when you talk about the creative template, people having a creative template, and to me, the imagination is the way to get to that creative template, and bring it out from under all the rubbish that people have put over the top of it, because they've been in the hard for so long. So the imagination can be used as that vehicle to get them back to that place.
Yes, it also. If I think of this whole thing in purely structural terms, I think of the energy mind, previously known as the un or subconscious mind, literally as the head and the neurology of the energy body.
Yeah.
The brain of the energy body.
Yes.
And it does that thing of turning energy data into objects and artifacts that we can consciously understand.
Yes.
So if I say to somebody, go to the perfect place in time and space for you right now,
Mm.
and we ask those questions, what is the time of day? What,
Mm.
you know, the energy mind is what creates that.
Yes.
And what else is there? There are these big soaring mountains with clouds just at the tips,
Mm-hmm.
That's it. This is data.
Yeah.
It's energy.
Mm.
The soaring mountain energy is an energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything in that other world that we step into
Mm.
is energy data.
Yes, that's it.
And our energy mind translates that for us into gnomes and dwarfs and elves and,
Yeah.
elephants and talking rabbits and
Yeah.
mountains and seas and oceans and magic pendants and
Yeah.
charms that do magical things. It is just a way of being able to handle this enormous data stream.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You
And it
know,
gives you your energy mind translates it in a way that you will understand and that you can
consciously
interact
understand it
with.
and we can
Yeah.
consciously get a handle on it.
Yes, that's
You
it.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
if it sends me like this pendant here
Mm.
in the energy world, I'm walking in a forest and there's something causing my attention. No, there's a sparkle.
Yeah.
And I go over there and I pick it up and there's this pendant.
Yeah.
And that has a special color, it has a special shape.
Mm-hmm.
This is energy data
Yeah.
translated into this form
Yeah.
that allows us to shape energetic realities.
Yes. Yeah.
Now we can do stuff with it. We can eat it, we can trade it, we can evolve it. There may be something
Mm.
trapped inside,
Yeah.
and we can learn something.
Yeah. And it isn't. I mean, yes, we can, and we always learn something, but also it's so much fun. It's such a light, wonderful place to be.
Yeah.
It's there's no. I think I've always been somebody who needed freedom and couldn't be limited. That's always been something I've pushed against all my life, and that is the great thing about being in that sanctuary space, is that there
Yes.
is no limit
No.
whatsoever. You can do anything, go anywhere, create anything.
But the good thing is that you are bringing your perceived limitations into that space.
Yes, 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 you
I
do.
love that
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of course, it's all made of energy, right? So you should be
yeah,
able to fly.
yes, yeah,
When I used to teach this to students, it used to be just brilliant because they'd be like, oh, I need a hot air balloon. I need to ride on a dragon. I need a helicopter. I need a spaceship. And I'm like, look,
yeah,
this is all energy. There is no gravity here.
yeah,
The
yeah,
only thing that is actually stopping you from flying is that idea you're bringing into this.
yeah. The human
Yeah,
like
what we've learned in
limitations.
the heart, what we've
Yeah,
learned in the heart and in
yeah,
physical reality.
yeah,
And so it really shows up your limitations. And then
yeah,
people are like, I can't fly. And it's just wonderful.
yeah.
Um, and so this is a block in understanding. And something that I don't know why I'm telling this, but what we used to do is like, okay, so what kind of magic do you need to fly? And we
Mm.
had everything from Dumbo's magic feather to, some sort of
That,
angel coming along and doing some sort of magic that all of a sudden they were light as air and they could lift off and flow with
mm,
the breeze. Woo!
yeah,
Whatever that is, I mean, I love it. I think it's all good fun. It raises energy.
yeah,
This is how we know we're doing something right. I still have
yeah,
this from this morning sitting here. This is how we know we're doing something right. When we're going up the energy chart, we're doing something
yeah,
right. And
yeah,
when we're going down the energy chart, we're doing
mm,
something wrong.
yeah. That's right. And I don't
As
think.
principle of the universe, God damn it.
Yes, yeah, it is definitely.
We
But
told
but
the exact opposite.
in that hard, people don't know that. They don't know that the way to determine whether something's right is because you're feeling better and you're going up the scale. because they're told that you just have to get on with it anyway. It's not about what you're feeling. It's about the fact.
Or the opposite.
Yeah,
The more it
yeah,
hurts, the better it is for
the
you.
better it is.
The more
Yeah,
miserable it makes you, the
yeah,
more gain there is somehow. That somehow by pain and suffering, you learn the real truth about yourself and other people.
yeah.
You know,
That's it.
that's bloody stupid.
Well,
You know,
and it's that adage of, the harder you work, the better you'll be able to stop and retire when you get old. And I used to think, but I don't want to work all that time, and then all I could see was my life being planned out ahead of me, which did not suit me in any way, shape, or form. Planning out what my life was going to be like. So for me, it was like, well, no, I want that now. I want all of my life to be that way. I don't want to work work myself to the bone and then get to some old age that was far in the distance at that time, and then it'd be nice and wonderful and heavenly, which is what they always sort of spouted to you. And I didn't fall for that one, I'm afraid.
no, and it's structurally wrong. And when
It
you
is.
when you have got some sort of feeling for these things, some sort of your sixth sense. I mean, modern energy is a paradigm shift because we deal with six senses, not just five.
Yeah.
And the sixth sense is what you feel in your body.
Yeah.
And when somebody presents you with a proposition that makes you feel bad inside, then you need to turn it down.
Yeah, that's
Because
right.
it is going to be bad for you. No matter
Yeah.
how good it might be in principle or in theory,
Yeah.
or for other people, if possible, it's
Mm.
not going to be good for you. I mean, I've followed this and I think this is quite correct. But let's go back to Francesca.
Mm.
Now, I used to use, it was quite fun. My son was supposed to be autistic, right? And they're supposed to be not so good with fantasy and imagination and feelings and what have you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I used to use SuperMind specifically with him when he had to write some kind of thing that you had to hand in to the authorities to prove that you'd
Yeah.
done something.
Yeah.
And I remember him writing this absolutely delightful story about a planet called Phosphorus, where people went who had these spirit creatures
Yeah.
that were tired or upset
Oh, wonderful.
and worn out and depressed and just wanting to give up or just in pain.
Mm.
And their spirit selves. I read
Mm.
it as being their souls or their spirit
Yeah.
selves.
Yeah.
And on this planet there, he found this special tree and it had this special fruit. And when a person ate it, this spirit creature would just finally get some sleep. It would just lie down and curl up and sleep and dream. And the
Oh,
person would then lie down too and sleep and dream. And when they woke up, they were happier.
that's lovely.
And I think he was about 11 when he wrote that.
Yeah, that was really nice. I love that.
That story is actually still on projectsanctuary.com. So it's
Yeah.
just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And it
Yeah.
enriched my sanctuary world too, because if
Yeah.
I ever had anybody come in who was really distraught, I would
Yes.
give them a bit of that fruit that Stephen had found in
Yeah.
his world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was a wonderful remedy for distraught
Yeah.
souls
Yeah.
and spirit
Yeah.
people. It's absolutely beautiful. So,
It.
and over the years, a great many people, adults,
Mm.
who were distraught and distressed, and I told this story to,
Mm.
went, ah,
Yeah. It's a lovely story. It's beautiful.
it
It
is,
really
and
is.
it's a word has come by sheer luck or good coincidence or fortune to me during a German live stream a couple of weeks ago. That word was sacred intelligence.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Sacred intelligence. That's good.
That's what you get in the other worlds.
It is. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing.
Mm.
And so your daughter is learning to deal with sacred intelligence.
Yeah, and she's learning that there's always something there that she can turn to. So she's never, because you see so many kids growing up feeling so alone, even though they've got friends and family around them.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine if they really understand what's going on. But of course, most people don't really understand what's going on because they're in it themselves and they can't see beyond it. And Francesca and all my kids have grown up with that same understanding, even though they were at school, they've all grown up with that same understanding that there isn't just what you see. There's so much more, what you see with these eyes isn't all that there is. There's so much more that you can turn to. And, that I think just even knowing that is a massive bonus for anybody, knowing and not, I mean, we don't talk about it as a spiritual thing or anything like that. We don't mention words like it being a spiritual thing, because of course that can then have bad connotations when you speak to people who don't believe in spiritual things. If you start talking about it in that way, you can put people completely off. And so with her, we just talk about it as it just being, well, we talk about it as being her imagination, as her having characters in there. So she's learning that she has all these different characters that are in her, what I call her magical world of I, which is what I'm doing with people now. So when you see this person here, this I that you call yourself, it's not singular, it's plural, because it's full of all these wonderful characters. And so she's learning that when she's angry, that's one of her characters. It's not her. So she's learning that from a young age so that she can start to separate and deal with things in a completely different way to how children are normally set up to deal with things.
Well, the way that I've been doing this is by saying that this is not 11 different people. This is one person, and they're called aspects.
Yes, yeah,
and you can be, this aspect 1 minute, and then something wonderful happens, and then you become that aspect. Woohoo! Just 10 pounds. Way.
Yeah.
Then somebody sends you a bad email, and woo. And then you read a really stupid thing on social media, and it goes woo. Angry, and we change into these aspects from moment to moment.
Yeah,
and so the past aspects and future aspects, and that's good fun too. But really, the main thing really is these worlds that we enter into, and the more attention we pay, the more wonderful they become.
Yes.
A world that I'm playing in at the moment, there it is winter. It is it's quite up in the north, so this is a serious winter.
Yes.
And it's a house called Rose Cottage. But it's not a cottage. It's more of a big family house from the Middle Ages.
Yes,
I know. There's cooks and kitchen people, and a guy who looks after the garden. And in the winter, he looks after the winter garden and does repairs to carriages and so forth that are not being used. And somebody's just looking after this place.
Yeah.
And I'm just there for a visit and enjoying the place and the winter, and just having a good time there with some friends of mine. A couple of friends of mine are there as well, and we're just enjoying resting there.
Yeah, that's lovely. Well,
Eating fresh food from the animals that they have, and
so it's all there. It's lovely. Sounds lovely. Yeah,
it's the perfect place in time and space for my spirit self.
Yes, yeah, that's it. Well, mine is where I go an awful lot, and I go to think, and I go to find answers, because there's a wonderful man there that I've known most of my life who sits there. But I've got this dragon glade, I call it, and it's basically wooded most of the way around, but I have this lovely waterfall and pool with this crystal clear water, and my dragons, because I have lots, that they're in different places around and about. Some are off in the forest, some are out on this cliff top, and they go off and fly. And it's just when I go there, everything just goes, oh, and everything drops away, and I can think clearly. I can find answers, or I can get on a dragon and fly, or I merge with my dragons and fly, which is an amazing feeling, being a dragon. And I go off here, there, and everywhere. And I've got this wonderful amethyst mountain range that I go and sit on and just get all this wonderful energy from the amethyst mountain range. It's amazing.
And the wonderful thing is that through our energy bodies, being happier, that transmits into our physical bodies.
Yeah, it does.
So this is the connection between emotion and physical. This is why people, I'm just saying that in case we have any people listening here who haven't got a clue what we're talking about. You know, this is the connection between the effect it has when you're playing in these worlds, when you're shifting.
Yes.
It affects your energy body, who's acting in this world. And through your energy body, it affects your physical body. Directly. Your, you know, your blood sugars change, your hormones change, your adrenaline levels change. It is extremely good for your physical body, especially in times of stress and misery, to take a holiday in sanctuary.
Yeah, that's it.
I think poor children who are doing the shifting at the moment on TikTok, lives they are living without being able to go out, without being able to see their friends, without being able to run away into the forest, like we used to do.
Yeah,
you know, they are imprisoned.
They are, and that's their release.
Their brothers and sisters are their mothers and fathers, or the people that caring for them. You know, oh man, it is the right thing to do, to move into these beautiful realms. I mean, this is dream time.
Yeah, that's it. But it's conscious dream time.
No, dream time as in the Aboriginal dream time.
Oh, yes, exactly. Which to me, though, I always read that. I always read that as that walking in two worlds with a foot in each world. And that's that all related. All those old sort of spiritual traditions have this thing of walking with a foot in each world and being able to, like we said at the beginning, combine both together to make your reality. And that, again, it goes back to that. But the problem, I mean, because I watched that TikTok video that you're talking about, and the kids coming out of it in tears because it had been so amazing and they didn't want to come out of it. And I just wanted to go up to them and say, it's okay, because you can go back whenever you want and it's fine. Yes. And I just wanted to go up to them and hug them and say, it's fine, it's great, it's amazing that you did it, and you can go back whenever you want. You haven't lost it. No, it's always there.
However, you can have this effect, I'm guessing, because when you go into this is one of the reasons I believe it's being so strongly discouraged.
Yeah.
But when you come back from there, you see how shit the heart actually is.
Yeah, you do.
How wrong, how restrictive, how inhumane, how unloving.
Yeah.
How loveless. I mean, this is the problem with the heart all over, that it is so loveless. Yeah. When you're spending some time in the real world, be that in real sanctuary or in the real nature world, there is this belonging, there is this vibrancy, there is this excitement, this awesomeness that's just there hard. And I totally am on board with these children crying. And I'm hoping that they're coming away from doing that to their heart's content. They will realize that it doesn't go away and it's always there and it gets better.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that. They're
going to keep
just seeing back. Yeah, you just want to give them a hug and saying, look, you know, don't listen to those people who are telling you that you're doing the wrong thing. You're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It's perfect. I mean, it is the place where you need to be if everything else sucks.
Yeah.
you know, whoosh.
Yeah.
And the
That's
more you do it, the more you are bringing things back from it into your heart.
yeah. And to me, the way that we're going to go forward and check, because this heart has to change,
Yes.
and this,
Yes, completely.
what we're going through now is, I think, the beginnings of this change. And it might seem chaotic and everything else, but I think it is the beginnings of this change. And I think when you look at our children and they're beginning to stop and look around them and say, we don't want this. We don't want this world you're handing us, and they're beginning to see behind that hard and realize that there has to be something more. And they're looking for it.
And this is why people who try to keep the heart together as it is, because it makes them billions, don't want us to do it.
No,
And
that's wrong.
And not just try to stop us from imagination, fantasizing, becoming more spiritual, because the more spiritual you become, the more, like, for example, angels or prophets become real to you. They become your friends. They become a support, a powerful support.
And you start living from a place of loving things instead of being scared of everything.
Yeah. And they don't want us to do that. They don't want us to be. And this, it's just, so I am 100% on board with encouraging children to absolutely, if they want to, escape. Psychology has made it into a bad word, calling it disassociation.
Yes.
Or dissociation. They have classified this as a mental illness.
Yes.
The reason that they have done this is because they've only looked at trauma, which causes this to happen.
Yeah.
They have never looked at the really high energy states, which also causes this to happen.
Yeah.
Lady on Star Matrix 3 wrote about a night where she stood and saw a comet soaring by in the sky. And she literally was drawn out of her body.
Yeah.
And became the comet traveling across the sky.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, she was like, oh, wow. That was so amazing.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. And I'm like, the so-called mental illness problem symptom of dissociation is actually high energy. It's a lifesaver for the people in the trauma situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lifesaver, a soul saver.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Leaves the body there, and the soul the spirit sort of buggers off, waits until it's over, and then comes back. So it's a soul saver, a life saver, an incarnational saver in the trauma. And when it's a high energy experience, like the comet one, it's an enlightenment experience.
Yes. Yeah, it is. And you get that real feeling. You feel it's a physical feeling of the energy when you get those. And it brings, it's like when you, for me, I will go out with my camera. Like you, I like to go out with my camera in nature and take photos. And some days I go out and I am so overpowered, overawed by what's there. And to somebody else, it doesn't look like anything magical. But to me, I don't take photos because I'm just sitting there with tears of joy and that real ecstatic joy. And I'll be looking at a flower, perhaps with dewdrops or a spider web, or just the way the sun's just shining on something. But just that little moment is just so magical, and you feel it everywhere.
And that's really, that's the state of being that we are supposed to be doing. And that's what the heart has got to learn to do.
Yes, yes, definitely. And that's
make people
need to know it's okay. Yeah.
To stop bringing people down with divisive, hideous lies and depressing their physical bodies with stuff that's not good for them, and depressing their minds, their souls, disrespecting their intellect, their fantasy, their capability.
Yeah.
And all of that needs to change, all of that. And we, most above all else, we just need more love in there. So what I was going to say about this shifting. So the teenagers on TikTok, they're shifting, meaning they're just leaving the heart behind. They're just buggering off.
Yeah.
Really like the abuse victims, hey?
Yes. Yeah.
So that tells you something, not about the teenagers being brain damaged, but actually about that the heart has become child abuse trauma.
Yeah, it has.
You. Okay.
It is. Yeah.
Now let's be, rather than blaming the kids for being crazy or schizophrenic. No, actually, they're showing you with their behavior, they're running away from this.
Yeah.
That they are actually being abused.
Yeah. That's
their
it.
reaction shows you this. Okay. So they're running away out of the heart, spending a time in their favorite place in time and space, having a good time. So good that they come back and cry.
Yeah.
On re-entry.
Yeah.
Again, tells you something about the whole situation that they're in.
Yeah.
And that is really the beginning to do this thing of getting one foot on one side, one foot on the other side.
Yeah.
Because the foot on the sanctuary side isn't there for most people.
No, I know. That's it.
They don't have that yet. They don't have that yet. And so spending time there, developing skills and doing things, and it is very practical. In a homeschooling scenario, it's fantastic.
Oh,
the
definitely.
child doesn't have to be lonely. It doesn't have to, it can. The question that a child individually has, if they were answered at the right time, when they're asking that question, not 10 years later.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
If they're
and I remember when Francesca was younger and she was really in the dinosaur stage, like children go through the dinosaur stage. And I remember her once asking me something about dinosaurs, and I was in the middle of writing and she couldn't get online to look. And I just said, why don't you just go and visit some dinosaurs and see for yourself? Go and look, go and see what that dinosaur does, or go and see what how those two dinosaurs. I can't really remember it properly.
Going to sanctuaries, watch some dinosaurs.
Yeah,
and
that's it. Yeah, but most parents wouldn't do that because they would think that that's completely the wrong thing to do for their child. You're just giving them the thing that used to bug me the most when I was young and when my children were young, when people would turn around and say, it's just your imagination.
Oh, yeah.
And I would be like, oh,
it's just your
imagination. Just my imagination. That's the good thing. That's a good thing.
How about my favorite bugbear, which is when a child has a nightmare, it's only it's not real.
Yes. I know.
Okay.
And you've got a child that's shaking.
Would you like to give me a blood test? Would you like to really notice what the stress hormones are in my body? Please notice the tears streaming down my face, the rapid hyperventilation.
Yeah, that's it. I know. How can it be?
Has shut down, and I'm going to have diarrhea now because of it.
Yeah.
Because of the severity of the stress. Oh, but it's not real, right?
It's ridiculous. We've got
define real.
People have become so far removed. Yeah, people have become so far.
Their entire body dripping with sweat, shaking all over, their heart racing to the point they're about having a heart attack. Now you tell me how that isn't real.
Yeah,
does it get realer than that? How would you know that anything was real if that's not real?
Yeah, that's it exactly. The amount of monsters that I've dispatched out of cupboards and from under beds and things over the years, because they are real. They can describe to you exactly what they look like. So I would go and I'd pull them out and I'd take them off and I'd dispose of the monsters, or we'd do something together sometimes because they were braver with you, and they could get the sword out and they could shoo them away, or they could get the wand out and magic them away, or whatever. All these things, or I'd always say, if they had a favorite program on the telly or a favorite character in a book, then that character had come and take them away, you know, and so because
There's a million things, you know. What do
yeah,
you want to do with the monster? I wanted to stop being a monster. I wanted to be a nice thing.
yeah,
Okay. Just a
exactly.
nasty spell was put on the monster,
Mm,
and there's something else inside. You
yeah,
know, perhaps
yeah,
love's own true kiss will change it. Let's try and
yeah,
see what happens, what comes out. You know,
yeah.
it's wonderful. I mean, the
Mm,
fact that somebody has this being sent to them, this idea of a monster in the cupboard.
mm,
It's the dear energy mind trying to tell us something here.
yeah,
Here's the problem. You need to solve this, not
yes,
ignore it. It's
yeah,
very the same as if it's some sort of energy body thing going on there.
yeah, that's right,
Something made
definitely.
of energy, some data, some confusion, some snafu.
Yeah, or something, yeah, something that's just caused that bit of stress that's then been
Right, that's
showing up in that way.
right into a monster in the cupboard, exactly. Or
Yeah,
you just have a real monster in the cupboard that somebody next door made and it moved in.
yeah,
Energy's quite real, you know. There's all sorts of weird and wonderful things.
yeah,
And we're never gonna get to the bottom of this if we ignore it or we tell people they're just crazy.
yeah,
And all those kids on TikTok are mentally ill. No, they're not. They're using a human talent and ability that's been
yeah,
completely undervalued, under investigated, under researched, underused.
yeah. And people are given drugs these days to get rid of
Just
it as well.
yes, that's another
You
door
know?
closing, you know,
Yeah,
stop them from having these things in the first place.
yeah,
Nothing allowed to escape the hard.
mm, yeah,
This
that's
is
it.
why recreational drugs are illegal as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Keep you
because they take
confined,
on all sorts of adventures. Yeah,
give you an outside perspective on this
mm,
hard.
yeah.
And it is like a concentration camp.
It is very much. Yeah, yeah, I
And as
agree.
soon as
And it,
people find a way to dig a tunnel out, they'll come and
yeah,
try and close that tunnel off.
they
We're
will.
very
Yeah.
lucky here at the moment with modern energy. We've only just started. They were so small, they haven't noticed us.
Yes, that's true. But and you know, one of the things I've always stressed to my kids, because I suppose my mum did it to me and my sister, she always said, nobody can tell you who you are. That's always up to you. And she always told us that we, in our, you know, in our imagination, we could be whoever we wanted to be and we could do whatever we wanted to do. And I grew up with that message as well. So me going off into those realms was never wrong in my eyes. You know, there was never anybody there saying that's the wrong thing to do. Or if they were saying it, I didn't believe them because my mum said it was okay. You know, which is that
I
big
wish more
thing.
more adults. I mean, this is something I was talking to somebody else about the other day. Is
Mm,
that if I just wish to God, if some woman of my age had said to my aspect when it was a child, small child, I'll do that shift. I do that thing too. I go into those worlds as well.
mm,
What difference would that have made to my
yeah,
aspect?
yeah,
My life would have changed my life completely
mm,
to have role models there.
yeah,
Um, we're running out of time here, sadly,
mm.
but I'm going to ask you something. I'm hoping you can answer this. How old are you, Kirsten?
52.
You're 52. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm 61.
yeah,
And we have been doing this all our lives.
yeah,
And, you know, we both are capable of sitting in front of a computer screen,
yeah,
having an adult conversation.
yeah,
We are paying our bills.
yeah,
We have houses.
uh-huh,
We are helping other people.
yeah.
You know, we're making a
We're
positive
writing
contribution.
books. We're doing, we're, you know, we're being creative. We're looking after children. We're bringing them up in amazing ways. We're both grandmothers. I'm a
Yes,
grandmother as well now.
yes, we are.
So
Congratulations.
that's
I,
okay.
my younger son is 31 today.
Yeah.
Happy
Oh yes,
birthday.
yeah. Happy birthday, Stephen. Yeah.
And he has his own business,
Mm, yeah.
and he's happy and doing well.
Yeah.
So I would say just from, oh, and I have a Mercedes on the drive still. We have to add. Just have to add that. So basically what I'm saying here is that here's two women who've been shifting all their lives and who are perfectly capable of functioning in society.
Yeah.
Who are making contributions to society, who are good citizens and parents.
Yeah.
And that's proof that it doesn't turn you into some crazy weirdo.
No.
And that it's good for your mental health. It's good for your inner stability. It's good for your joy in life.
Yeah. And finding your solutions to your problems. You don't need to go to somebody else. You can be responsible for your own self.
Yeah.
You know, and that's another thing that the hard makes people do. It makes them go to somebody else and give their responsibility for themselves away, which is so disempowering. And I think one of the things that doing what we've done does for us is we've got somewhere to go to find our solutions.
Yeah, that's right. And no matter what happens in the hard,
Exactly.
It's up and down. The hard is up and down. You might be in hospital or in prison or in find yourself in some weird place for whatever reason, going off on a rescue mission and God knows what. Or you've booked a holiday and it turns out to be a war zone when you get there.
Yeah.
It's okay because you've got this really stable world on the other side.
Yeah, that's it.
That is holding your incarnation together. That is providing a stability and a permanence that you just don't find in the hard.
And all your friends, and not all your friends, but you've got friends there. You've got support there.
Yes, you do.
You're never on your own.
Yeah, you're not on your own, and it doesn't really then matter. You can go there, go back there anytime you choose, anytime you want, and it's extremely helpful, and it is extremely healthy, and it is extremely normal to be doing that. And so there are 1,001 ways that can be helpful in homeschooling, as it can for any child, and it should be encouraged. It should not be feared. And this is our message here today. So I'll give you the last word on that before we go.
You give me the last word? Okay. Yes. Well, I was just going to say I completely agree, and I think that for me, if I could be in charge of the country now, if I was Prime Minister, then the thing that I would put back into schools is imagination. And that would be my first thing. So in our words, it would be the energy mind. But for most people, they understand it as imagination. And I would give children and teachers their imagination back, because I think that would be a massive turning point for society. Just that small thing would be a massive turning point. It would be a beginning.
Yep. Well, I'm going to do my best to keep encouraging people to do that. Yeah. It's love of my life, as you know, and all the beautiful things that modern energy has wouldn't be there without.
No, it all came from there.
Yeah, it does. The original, I mean, not just my original ideas, everybody's original ideas come from there. Every Star Wars, every Lord of the Rings, every turning spiral that turns out to be the organization of DNA, riding on a beam of light. There is nothing in the heart that doesn't come from the other world in the first place. So yay to the other worlds, yay to people exploring them, and let's encourage more people to embrace and fall in love with their own imagination, because it is the gift that keeps on giving. Okay, Kirsten, that was fun.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yep. Do you still see clients?
Do I what?
See clients?
Yes, well, I'm working more one-to-many now rather than one-to-one. So I'm trying to develop ways to give people to put things in place, introducing them to their inner world, to their characters, bringing them that self-awareness, bringing them the tools to be able to deal with things on the inside, so that people don't get into the state in the first place that they're having to go to therapists and things for. So I'm trying to get in at the beginning before they get to that state.
That makes a lot of sense, and that's the right way to go, really, isn't it? I'm going to leave contact details for you in the description box.
Okay.
And yeah, so it was lovely to talk again.
It was really nice.
It's been a while, and looking forward to let's keep going what we're doing and try and bring more love into the world, make the world a better place.
Yes, and I'm sure we will. I know we will.
Thank you very much, Kirsten, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Well done for making it all the way through to the end. Leave us a like or a comment if you have any questions. Love to hear them. Lots of love, and bye from Kirsten and from me for now. Bye.
Bye. Bye.